Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Tamron Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours. And good morning, everyone. This is Dr. RG, yours truly here, and this is the Courageous Conversations Connect space. We are on August 19th, 2020, and this is our 70th episode. Oh my goodness, 22nd week, I guess. Morgan says, don't say that we're in quarantine. We're still in a pandemic though, right? And I see Nicole, good morning. Charlotte's on, Billy Joe is on. Hey, Billy Joe. Stephanie's on. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Hi-G family. Welcome, Facebook family. Welcome, YouTube family. It's good to be here. Thank you for being so gracious with me on Monday. I was feeling a little under the weather, and I just decided to take my own advice and not push myself. I said to Morgan, I'm not really feeling myself. Do you mind if we take a little bit of a break today? And he said, sure, I'll send a message out to everyone. So thank you for your prayers. Some of you actually who are friends of mine text me, say, are you okay? And I'm fine. I'm back in the saddle again today. Do me a favor. I see Dr. Gail. Good morning, Dr. Gail, and Deborah from the crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. I see Angelique. Good morning. Good to have you all on. I'm seeing my hearts. BJ sent me hearts. Angelique, send me my thumbs up, my smiley faces and hearts. Also, if you don't mind, go on over to the YouTube page if you have not done that. Hit the subscribe button. It's the Ask Dr. RG YouTube page, AskDrArgie. Send some friends over there. It helps to elevate the numbers if you send friends over there. If you have people who can't watch the show at 10 a.m. because they're working or they're dealing with their children or they have other responsibilities, please tag a friend or share this video or invite them to come on and view, not necessarily in real time later on. That also helps. So the more people that participate in our crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins, the better, because we want to share the word. We're having quarantine talks because it's needed. We need a safe space to process all that is going on. Nicole says, happy to know you are good. Thank you so much, Nicole. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. So listen, what I would like for you all to do is all this week, our topic is rising up, because we need to rise up given everything that is going on in the world today. So it's rising up, relieving pressure points in the midst of crisis, right? That is what we're trying to do. And so, we know that pressure bursts pipes, and we also know that every pressure point needs a relief valve. So what does that look like as we do rise up? I want you guys to think about who you're breathing for. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we're going to come right back, get into our breathing exercise. So think about who you're breathing for and with today, and hit that, put that in the chat. We're going to come right back, and we'll get into our breathing exercises. So stay with us. All right. So it's Dr. RG here. Welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect space. We take a quick break and Morgan kind of moves some things around. So I've been doing some organizing in my office, if you will, trying to get it to be calm and peaceful because I spend a lot of my time here. Seeing clients and what have you. And Charlotte says, glad I'm feeling better. Thank you so much. I'm feeling much better. This weather is a little weird. And so I get migraines when the weather changes, and it can be very debilitating. But I am much better today. I hope you all are better. It's good to see you. It's good to be with you. It's good to fellowship and have this quarantine talks, the Courageous Conversations Connect with our crew. So who are you breathing for? Breathing life and exhaling negative energy. Who are you breathing for? So today, I'm breathing for all of the families that are being impacted by the gun violence in Philadelphia. I don't know about where everybody is, but the gun violence has been on fleek. There's been something like 93 shootings since Friday. There have been over 30 people who have died. It's pretty bad. So I'm breathing for those families that are impacted and affected by the violence. I'm also breathing for the DNC. The Democratic National Convention is underway. It's a lot of movement. I actually have been really fascinated by the engineers. I didn't know what it was going to look like when it was online, right? Or I say online, but when it was on TV that we were watching this, given that for all the years that I can remember for these national conventions, people are there and they're wearing their funny costumes and it's a lot of pomp and circumstance. I liked the call out last night at the different, in the different regions. For the numbers, I thought that was pretty interesting. It showed the diversity overall. But I think that, there's been a few glitches, but not many. And so I'm always thinking about who are the people behind the scenes, just like the essential workers that are still, and we're breathing for them as well, or I'm breathing for them as well. Just like the ones that are putting themselves in harm's way. That's still happening, by the way. We're still in a pandemic, despite what people think. We are still in two pandemics. There is a collision that is happening with two viruses, COVID-19 and systemic racism. So there are essential workers that are putting their lives on the line. They are the postal workers, and goodness gracious, what's going on with the postal system these days? That's really concerning given the issues with the voting and the voter suppression that is taking place as we speak, along with the doctors and the nurses and the grocery store workers and the pharmacy workers and the bus drivers. And there's a lot of essential workers, and a big shout out for mental health practitioners, of which I participate in that profession. We are essential workers too, because people are more anxious than ever before. People are feeling the pressure burst pipes. People are feeling all of the anxiety, all of the, the distress, if you will, and the disease. Think about that. Distress and dis-ease. We are all feeling the impact. And as a result, many of us are not the best versions of ourselves. So that's what and who I'm breathing for. Let me know, guys. I see Treasure. Hey, Treasure. Good morning. Let me know who and for what and for whom you are breathing for. Angie says, good morning. I'm back to school next week. So I won't be able to make lives, but I will watch the recordings. Love your show. Thank you so much, Angie. I appreciate it. Treasure says, breathing for all of Gloria Miles' family and friends who we lost suddenly. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you so much for breathing for them. We're going to be breathing for their family and praying for their family as well. So if we could get into our posture, relax your back, put your feet steady on the ground, get calm in a space, put the middle finger to your thumb, or one hand over another on your lap or to your sides. And at the sound of my voice, I'm going to count to 3. And we're going to breathe in through our nose. We're going to breathe out through our mouth. We're breathing oxygen in or holding it 8 seconds and then breathing out. We still are honoring George Floyd and his family, which he had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And then after the last breath left his body, and we're breathing in hope. We can't lose hope. We're breathing in calm and peace and serenity. And we're breathing out fear and worry and anger and frustration. Okay. So let's go. Dr. Gail says she's breathing for all of her colleagues who are taking time to provide services for the distressed online. And Deborah says she's breathing for confused people. All right. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And breathe out. 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 Last time, make it count, crew. Breathe in. And breathe out. All right. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Continue to do that, guys, throughout the day. It's going to help with your breathing. It's going to help with your lung capacity. It's going to help to calm you and center you so that you can do the things that you need to do throughout the week, right? All right. So let's get into this conversation about Still I Rise, right? We're talking about rising up. What does that look like? What does that mean to you, rising up? I posted something that I saw, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. And it was Kamala Harris, just kind of when she was running for president, and also now that she's been elected as the running mate to Vice President Biden. And behind the song, behind her various pictures and her moving around, there was the poem by Dr. Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. And I started thinking about, what does that look like? And I want to ask you all to think about, if as you're relieving pressure points, remember, pressure burst pipes, and every pressure point needs a relief valve. We are still in the midst of a pandemic. So what does that look like to rise up? How do you rise up? How do you mitigate some of the fallout of what's going on if you're overwhelmed? Anybody overwhelmed out there? Anybody frustrated? Anybody riddled with anxiety? Anybody feeling the weight of sending their kids back to school, not knowing whether they're going to be safe or not? We know that there's hotspots that are happening. There's surges that are happening. College campuses have started to open back up. There's been parties off campus. And subsequently, I think I saw there were 5 colleges where they're actually shutting it down for 2 weeks and having only online, because some of the college campuses, the kids are having these parties. I heard a professional this morning that basically said that, and we know this from a neurological perspective, that the brain is not fully developed until about between 23 to 25. And so the part in the region of the brain that is risk averse, that starts really thinking about how do I mitigate some of the risk, is not fully developed. In addition to the fact that we know that young people, their lifeline is their engagement with other young people, their peers. That's what they do. They want to connect. We have a business that's called Connections Matter for a reason. But the problem is that the connections have to look different, and we have to be innovative if we're going to make it through, if we're going to grow through these 2 pandemics. And so think about, and Still I Rise. Nicole Mama Stokes said all of that, feeling all of the weight of the anxiety and the pressure and the fear and the worry of going back to school with your kids. I know the teachers are terrified. I know the parents are terrified. You shouldn't have to be terrified to send your kids to school with the notion that there's a possibility that they could come down with a virus that could also harm not only them, but you, right? And when Michelle Obama, which dropped the mic moment, when she said, "It is what it is," in the opening where she was the anchor for the DNC, and I waited up late at night for her to give her speech. And she said that, quite frankly, Donald Trump is not the man for the job. It is what it is. I thought it was brilliant in terms of some shade, quite frankly, because Donald Trump a few days before had said, well, okay, yeah, some people are going to die. It is what it is. And that's just not what we want for our leader. Here's the thing, crew. We have to do our part. We have to vote like our lives depended on it, because it does. We have to get out there and get the information out there. I'm going to be talking about that. If you all have information in for the crew, put it in the chat. If you know about voting polls that are opening up early, or voter locations for early voting, if you've gotten your ballot early, if you've got any information, put it in the chat, because we do have to vote like our lives depended on it. But in the midst of all of that, in midst of all the pressure that we're experiencing, we have to be healthy. This is why we start out with us breathing. I want to not only hear in the chat if you have information about voting, I want to hear in the chat, what are you struggling with? And what can the crew help you with to rise? So I wanted to start this day, this conversation out with Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou, her poem, Still I Rise. It's one of my favorite poems. And I want us to sit and take it in for our IG crew, for our Facebook family, for our YouTube family. Listen to these words. And as you listen to these words, I want you to sort of try to sort of imagine what it looks like for you as a woman, as a man, as a child, if we got teenagers on this segment, what it looks like for you to rise up in spite of, not because of, but in spite of these two pandemics. You ready? You might write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springs high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? How many of y'all feel that? Bowed head with lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear it in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror, fear, I rise. Into the daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And in the film that I showed, or the video, she said, see me rising? And she laughed. That was Dr. Maya Angelou. The question that I have to the crew today is, what's your rise? How will you rise up? Because there are people right now today that want to steal your hope, that do not want you to rise up. that want you to lay down and act like the victory is not yours, that you have no voice, and that it's over. But I'm here to tell you this morning, faith and fear does not reside in the same space. And if we have faith and we have hope and we have this crew that connects us, we then can rise up and we can make a change, right? We can move forward, even in the midst of two pandemics. But we have to know that we know that we know that we know who we are and whose we are, right? That was a sermon that Pastor Waller preached, I think this past Sunday. It was know who you are, or remember who you are. And I think that that's part of the problem, quite frankly. Sometimes we have just forgotten how amazing we are as a people, how much we have survived. And quite frankly, we also have forgotten that we, at one point in our history, weren't just surviving, we were thriving. Dr. Gale says, I know parents are afraid and concerned about their children, adolescents return to school and possibly being exposed to the virus. Education about the following the CDC guidelines and safety policies in each school may help with distress. Absolutely, 100% agree, Dr. Gale, with regards to the education about the safety guidelines. The challenge here is that we are dealing with children, right? And children will be children. And so they're not going to always wear the mask as they should. They're going to want to not cover up their faces. I actually saw some masks that I think could be helpful. I haven't seen anyone wearing them, but I saw them on Facebook where the mask was clear. It was a clear mask so that you could actually see the smile, you could see the expression, because I think we lose some of that when we're only able to see the eyes, but we're not able to see the nose and the smile and the expression on people's face. That means something. A smile is a universal language. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm doing a segment tomorrow. I hope that you guys can tune in. It's going to be on Good Day Philly. I think right before we come on. So it'll be at 9:15. So you'll get a chance to kind of see me before we come on to our show. And it's really going to be about how do we stay connected in the midst of all of the different mindsets, right? Whether you're wearing a mask or don't wear a mask, whether you're sending your kid back to school or you're not sending your kid back to school, whether you have the privilege of working from home or you have to go back to work, whether you make a decision to socially distance or not socially distance. Those are decisions that we're all having to make, and we're having to level up on resetting our mindset in order to make the right decision for our family or for our lives, right? Rising up. While simultaneously, here's the challenge. Have you found yourself, because I'm going to go on and admit, I have found myself being judgmental at times. How about you? How many of you have found yourself being a little bit, haughty about whether somebody's wearing a mask or not? And I had to sort of check myself because they do have the right? And I saw this the other day. I was watching a feed with Ayala Fasant. That's what it was, Ayala Fasant. And she was saying, what rights do you have? What rights do you have? We have the right to make our own choices. Now, here's the challenge with the right to wear a mask or not. If you're running down the street and you wear a mask or you don't wear a mask and you're outside, they have said that you're fine. You're not going to harm somebody. But what if you don't wear a mask and you go into a crowd of people? At that point, you're now making a decision to, because of your decision, possibly harm someone else. And we know that this virus is very insidious. We also know that there are a lot of people out there that are super spreaders. That means that they're asymptomatic and they have the potential to have a huge level of viral load inside of them that then makes them more susceptible to spread it to other people. So if that is the case, then what you don't have a right to do is harm me with your actions. So how do you then try to make sense out of the nonsense if you're making one decision for yourself and your family, but somebody else is making a different decision? Or what if it's in your own family? What if you're partnered with someone, and they have a very different mindset about the kids going back to school, about wearing masks, about social distancing? What if you just can't, right? What if you have to go, as Morgan's post on Friday said, what if, parents are struggling with making decisions that are not always their decision? It's like a false choice, right? Do I not go back to work and then I can't pay my bills? Or do I go back to work and then put myself and my kids in harm's way? It's like a false choice. And unfortunately, our leadership is not helping us. And so I wanted to open the conversation up for our crew to talk about, one, how are you rising up? Have you been getting flack, right, from, or any clapback, if you will, from people about the decisions that you are making? And how are we bridging that gap in relationships? Because with our children, we know that rules without relationship equal rebellion. I want to say that again. With our children, we know rules without relationship equal rebellion. So I've been saying for the last 6 months, we're in our 70th episode. I've been saying, spend time listening to your children. Do y'all remember Slack? Remember we talked about cutting yourself some slack? How are you showing up in your family? How are you showing up with yourself? How are you showing up in the workplace? How do you show up with your loved ones? L, how are you listening? How are you learning? And how are you leading? That's important. The A, how are you acknowledging where you fall short? Where you made the wrong choice and now you need to course correct? How are you acknowledging how stressful this is? It is not cool to be incurring all of the stress and then displace it onto people so that they're now having to cash the check that they didn't write because you're not acknowledging that you're overwhelmed. That's where therapy comes in. Get therapy if you need it. Talk to someone if you can't afford it or you don't know who to go to. Reach out to us. We'll give you some referrals, or just talk to a confidant, but you got to get it out. And then commitment. That's key, right? Commitment is huge. If we are committed to growing through this and getting to the other side, then we've got to do the necessary things, especially what the CDC tells us with regards to taking good care of ourselves and protecting ourselves. And then finally, and this is what I feel like is the most important part of Slack. Are you kind? It's a simple 4-letter word. And I'll be honest, most of us are not the best versions of ourselves when we're overwhelmed, when we're frustrated, when we're agitated, when we're irritable, when we're fearful, when we're worried. We're not the best versions of ourselves. So this is why we're doing this quarantine talks. So at least on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 10 a.m., you have a safe space to process and get it out. This is an opportunity for you to use this little relief valve to relieve some of the pressure, to expel some of that anxiety and that fear and let it out so that you're not displacing your frustration on your family or your friends or your coworkers. Journal. I've always said, journal how you're feeling so that when you're engaged with your family or your friends or your coworkers, you can present the best version of yourself. And if you can't, you're just having a day. Have you ever just had a day, right? My IG family, Facebook family, YouTube family. Have you ever just had a day where you need to start the day or engage with someone by saying, the qualifier is, I'm just having a day and I'm not the best version of ourselves. So therefore, I need to step back from this. That's what we need to do in order to help ourselves to be the better version of ourselves. So listen, we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to see in the chat, How are you using Still I Rise? How do you use this poem to help you to mitigate some of that fallout and rise up? And if you have information about voting, share that in the chat. And also please share what are the things that are causing you to feel up with pressure, and how have you utilized these things like cutting yourself some slack to help you. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Tamron Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. RG here. This is Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. We've been talking with our IG family on the break, and we're talking with our Facebook family and our YouTube family. Do me a favor, go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Definitely helps. Smash that thumbs up. That helps with our algorithms. Ask Dr. RG, AskDrArgie. And tag a friend, share this post, share this video with other people who may not be able to watch it in real time, but they will get the same impact that you are getting here in real time as our crew connecting relationships for epic wins. We got some comments from our IG family. Morgan, you want to read the comments or questions?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so we got here. Blessed Mama, I believe. Blessed Mama SP, I don't know what that is. But anyway, she says, when I think of and still I rise in the days we are living in, the way I interpret it is, as an African-American woman, I am able to wake up each day in my right mind with strength and gratefulness. That's what Blessed Mama said.
Thank you, Blessed Mama. She says she's able to wake up in her right mind. A pathway to reset your mindset with intentional thoughts from the inside out. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
And somebody, Sweet P. Kim, says, yes, I have been judgmental.
Me too, Sweet P. Kim. We got to check ourselves.
Exactly. And then Allison says, my response to people who still believe COVID-19 is a hoax and their rights are being violated, and she had a mask on, my attitude is go ahead and learn the hard way. Stay away from me.
Yeah, Allison, it's real. The struggle is real with trying to get people to fully understand. Thanks, Mark. The struggle is real, right? To get people to understand that this is a real thing, even after you've got 175,000 Americans dead and over 5.5 million who have been diagnosed with COVID. And that's just in the United States. That is not worldwide. And people are still saying that it's a hoax. Like, I don't get it. Sometimes I lose my cool and I get judgmental, and then I try to check myself. But Allison's right. What we do have the right to do is distance ourselves. So for those people who don't quite get it and they're saying, hey, this is not real. All right, well, you can't come over to my house. You got to stay away from me, and I'm going to stay away from you. Billy Joe says, when I have my day, I stay in bed and I stay away from people. I sleep with Bella, and I'm proud that I'm aware of myself. I love it. I love it, BJ. Listen, we've come a long way together. And I appreciate that you shared that, because for some people, when you have a day, you just need a moment. You just need a minute. Like, this is kind of regroup, recalibrate, refuel, and then you're ready to go back out there again. And so sometimes it's good to just stay with you, stay with yourself. And so I think Dr. Gail says, the poem I Rise gives me hope about the future It is extremely worrisome about the constant threats and oppressive tactics by the current leader asserts every day. It is difficult to look past the possibility of description and harm the tactics may cause people that are already suffering, but we must rise above it. We must transcend our suffering by having hope, determination, and fight back for our rights. I was seriously concerned about the post office attack. I just started writing about it. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's very true, Dr. Gail. When I think about, put my fan on here. I wrote down a couple of words that were used to describe Kamala Harris, who is a Black woman, right? Her mother is Asian Indian, her father was Jamaican American, and she is a Black woman that went to Howard University. Shout out for Howard University. And she is also, an AKA. And so the reason why I post these things, because I'm a Black woman. I'm a Black woman. And for any Black woman out there that is being attacked, we need to rise up. Dr. Maya Angelou was a Black woman. Oprah Winfrey, first billionaire Black woman. Harriet Tubman, my shiro, Black woman. Dr. Marlene Watson, who wrote the book Facing the Black Shadow, Black woman, right? Ida B. Wells, Black woman. Bethune-Cookman, Black woman. You know, the list goes on of many, many Black women. Maxine, we call her Auntie Maxine. Here are the words that were described: angry, birtherism, nasty, horrible, abrasive, meanness, disrespectful, untrustworthy, ambitious, mad woman, mean woman, whiny. So I think about us rising up. How many of us as Black women, and quite frankly, how many Black men have been in the workplace and we were talked to, someone said we were too aggressive. I know that's happened to me. I know that I was in the workplace and I was told that if my emails were just a bit tempered, now they were professional emails that stuck to the facts, but if they were just tempered a little bit, then maybe I would be more approachable, right? So my point is that we cannot expect often for everyone to embrace us. We have to rise up ourselves. We have to get gritty, right? And cut ourselves some slack. And what does that look like? It looks like being kind to ourselves first. It looks like being good to ourselves. It looks like putting our oxygen mask on first. And if we are facing a battle, if we are dealing with trauma, not if, when we are, and because we are facing battles every day, we're in a fight, F-I-G-H-T, we're in a fight, then the question is, how will we take care of ourselves? What's your rise? What is your rise? Y'all know I like to deal with acronyms, right? So help me out here. Let's go with this. What does RISE stand for you? As you're rising up, maybe all week, we can use this as an anchor, right? When you say, I'm rising up, tell me in the chat, tell the rest of the crew, just say, I'm rising up to what? To fight. I'm rising up to have hope. I'm rising up as a change agent. I'm rising up to vote. I'm rising up with faith. How are you rising up? Tell me in the chat, what's your rise about? And how will you use that rise as an anchor? In the poem, Dr. Maya Angelou, who's one of my sheroes, what are we rising up to do? Yes. Dr. Maya Angelou, she I don't know if you all know her story, but she owned a brothel and she was also abused. And she said that she did the best that she knew how to do. And then when she knew better, she did better. Jenna says, love yourself. You are worth it. I love it. Angelique says, no, I'm sorry. Jenna says, I'm rising up to vote. I love that. Vote like your life depended on it. We got to rise up to do that. Angelique says, reach into, her acronym for rising up is reaching into soaring energies. So she's rising up and she's reaching into soaring energies. I love that, Angelique. So hold on to that throughout the day. Have that as your anchor. Angie says, I'm rising up with faith and to try to make a change. Love it. See, this is what we call connected energy. Connections do matter. I believe that love, light, truth, and accountability, it equals hope and freedom. We can rise up together. We can make a difference. We can use our energy, our positive energy, to speak life and not death into people. But we have to do it because we believe it. So how are you rising up? Dr. Maya Angelou, she said she owned a brothel. And quite frankly, she operated in the very beginning of her years out of a lot of trauma in her life. She was sexually abused. She was assaulted. She experienced all kinds of different abuse. If you read the book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, you will understand her pain and her trauma. And we know that hurt people, right? We know this. But we also recognize that out of pain comes power if we appreciate the process. And then we can get busy with walking in our purpose. So just as Dr. Maya Angelou said, that she did the best that she knew how to do. And when she knew better, then she did better. We can know better, start educating ourselves, informing ourselves. We can plan, we can plot, we can strategize, mobilize, right? Create a movement and be on a mission to change this country, to change our place in it, because we do have a place in it. We do matter. Jenna says, I'm rising with faith and to have a man upstairs guide me through this pandemic while being on the front lines. Because we know Jenna is an essential worker and a frontline worker. So I appreciate that. Lots of hearts to you. I give my heart to you. I share my heart with you, all of you in the crew, because this is what it's got to be about. We've got to use the best of who we are and all of what we have. This is not a time to get too overwhelmed and too tired. And when we get tired, I read Jenna's, when we do get tired, that's when we have to use each other to fortify ourselves. We are stronger together. That is true. We are stronger together. And when we use our resources, when we use our love, when we use our light, when we use our truth and our accountability, that allows us to live in a state of mind that does equal hope and freedom. It is when we do not feel free, and it is when we've lost hope that we begin to have a downward spiral. Then we move closer to places of depression and despair and desperation. And when we are in that place, which is not a good place to be, with depression, despair, and desperation, that's when bad things happen. Desperate people do desperate things. This is what's also elevating the violence. So we've got to keep ourselves in a healthy space. What does that mean? Everybody's got to take care of both ourselves, and we've got to take care of each other. Are you doing the 5 M's? Are you doing your mindfulness in the morning? Are you recentering yourself? Are you setting your intentions for the day? You can use the acronym of rising up to set your intentions, that I'm rising up for this. I'm rising up for faith. I'm rising up to vote. I'm rising up to take care of myself. I'm rising up to not just survive, but to thrive. But set your meditation. Have a meditation every day. Do your meditation and then carry that meditation with you. Create the movement. Run up and down the stairs. Do some jumping jacks. Get moving so that you have healthy flow through your body, so that you create spaces and places within you, in your mind, that helps you move. And then have meaningful engagements. This is a meaningful engagement with our crew. And of course, use music. Y'all know who I like. Tell me, if y'all can tell me, that we'll do the little funny, right? If y'all can tell me who my favorite artist is, right, then you are the person of the day. You are the crew member of the crew leader, we'll say, of the day. You tell me who I've said my favorite artist is, who I play pretty much every day. Think about it. And if not, if y'all don't guess it in about 3 minutes, then I'll tell you. BJ says, I'm taking responsibility for my mindset. I need to do the work to move forward. I have my accountability people that keep me focused. I'm stronger, confident, and hopeful now, more hopeful now. Bye-bye depression. I love that, BJ. Bye-bye depression, bye-bye despair, bye-bye desperation. Hello, resilience. Hello, recalibration. Hello, refueling ourselves to be in a healthier space so that we can live our best lives. Dr. Gail says, I'm rising up, and her acronym for rising up is resist oppression. I increase involvement. The S is for stand up for something, and the E is for engage in ethical practices. I love it. Rising up, resisting oppression, increasing involvement, standing up for something, and engaging in ethical practices. I love it. See, when we do these things, when we create these ways in which we elevate our emotional state, our mental state, our physical state, when we move into healthy spaces in every area of our lives, then it fuels us. It allows us to be, again, the best versions of ourselves. Jenna says, I'm rising and praying that one day my coworkers will wear masks. I'm the only one at my site that wears a mask. My boss had it. Please wear your mask. Y'all, the virus is real. Really? Jen, you're the only person at your workplace and y'all are essential workers that wears a mask? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. This is part of the problem though, because it comes from leadership. Leadership really has implications for all of our lives. And if this was mandated at a national level, that when you go outside and you're in places where you have multiple people, I'm not talking about running, but when you're in your workplaces, when you're in other places that are public spaces where there are multiple people, then everybody should be mandated. That would have solved this issue. You know, I get it. People talking about it's their right, but if your right impacts someone else's life, then it's no longer the right that you have. That's the same to me, no different to me, is if you get in a car, it is your right to drink if you want alcohol. It is even your right to drink too much and have cirrhosis of the liver, if that's your choice. It is not your right to get drunk, I believe, and then get in a car, drive drunk, and possibly kill someone and put their lives in jeopardy. So that is the difference with regards to right, if you will. And we need to really recalibrate our thought process with regards to this community that we say we live in. Because I was listening to CNN this morning and they were saying that children, young people need community. But with community comes responsibility. And with responsibility comes accountability. And with accountability comes communal respect for each other. And if we don't have that, then what do we have? This concept of rugged individuality, where it's just about me, myself, and I, and I'm only going to do what I want to do because I want to do it, how I want to do it. Well, how does that help us in the final analysis? And when it comes back home, when it hits close to home, then you get it? Well, what purpose did that serve when we couldn't be? Everybody tells you be proactive versus reactive. That helps to mitigate the fallout. Jen says, yes, I reported it. It's mandatory now. Okay, great. It's all on the doors, no mask unless entry. That's good. That's good. I mean, there really is a way that, and here's, here's my thought process with regards to how you handle conflict, how you handle these situations where you feel differently than someone else. You take it up to the leadership. You state your case. You state the facts of your case. And then you make a request for change. Stick with that formula. Sometimes when we get emotional or we get reactional, then it kind of goes left. But if you can state case and the reason for the case and the facts for the case, and then a request for change, whether you're in your micro systems or you're in your macro systems, sometimes that can then move the needle forward. And then if that doesn't work at that level, then you go to the next level and you keep going to the next level. And if you're in a space or a place that doesn't honor you, now you've got to start thinking about, okay, is there someplace else for me that will honor who I am and value my life? Because I don't believe that going to anyone's workplace should cost you your life. I also don't believe that being in a particular demographic, whether it be female or whether it be male or whether it be Black, or whether it be brown, any marginalized group, I'll say, should cost you your life. What I mean by that is that we know that Black and brown people are disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. That is unacceptable in the richest country in the world. It's just simply unacceptable. That should not be. We all have a right to medication, to medical health care, to mental health care, to an education, to living in a home, to economic free commerce. We all have that right. Billy Joe says, it is sad. I think sad. She says, I know it's R&B. Oh, Sade. She says Sade. I know it's R&B relaxing music. I can't remember her name. So is it Sade? She said, nope, it's not Sade. Although I do like Sade. I do like Sade, but that is not my favorite person. So I give a couple of other minutes for someone to weigh in on that. My favorite artist that I listen to pretty much every morning to kind of put me in the mood. And it might be somebody on IG that might guess it as well. Jen says, but they don't follow the rules. My mask will remain on N95 and my vote mask. Gotcha, Jen. Deborah says, Trump's world has taught people to resist anything and everything that goes against him. People have lost the capacity to think about others like they think about themselves. I rise against Trump. Well, here's my statement about that. I say, love Trump's hate. That's usually, and if you all are following me, sometimes I'll put that in my hashtag, because while we can't change anyone else, that's for sure, we can change ourselves. As Mahatma Gandhi says, we must be the change we wish to see in others. And so when I say love Trump's hate, my position on that is that we've got to be that change. We've got to be the change agents. We cannot allow this administration to bring us down. As my FLOTUS says, my forever FLOTUS said, when they go low, we do what? Tell me in the chat. What did FLOTUS say? When they go low, we do what? We go what? Tell me in the chat, as well as tell me who my artist is. Do you find this is somebody in IG, babe?
No, it's a comment on IG. Blessed Mama says, I am strengthening my mind daily. I take time out of my day to exercise. I'm rising up by praying and surrounding myself with positive people and conversations.
Nice.
That's what.
Blessed Mama.
And then Allison said, go high.
Go high. Everybody says, so Angie said, go high. BJ said, we go high. Deborah said, we go high.
That's
yes.
Mama and IG said, go high. So, yep, we all
when
know
they go low, we go high, which means
it's hard to do that sometimes. But in the middle of a battle, and people making you mad and pissing you off, it's hard to go high.
I know.
So you want to knock a joker out. You want to knock a joker out.
Oh, gosh. Morgan said, my husband, did y'all hear him? Y'all hear him? He said, you want to knock a joker out. That's what he said. It's hard. It's true. I don't want to present like this is easy. When they go low, that we go high that it's so easy not to want to be like, oh, I just want to like choke you. I just want to knock you out for just thinking the way that you think, right? I get it. So Deborah said hi. Cynthia said hi. Dr. Gail said we go high. Cynthia said Prince. Is that my favorite artist? Not Prince. Nope. Angie said yes, Morgan. Angie agrees with you, Morgan, that they want to knock somebody out. Deborah agrees with you too. It really is hard, but then how does that help? Remember what we always say in our crew, both connecting relationships for epic wins, but also, are you helping to harm or healing the hurt? And each person has responsibility for their actions. We cannot control anybody else. We can only control ourselves. So when they make a decision to come at you, you make a decision too, to react, or as I've said, you can pause, listen to these 5 things, pause, breathe, reflect, identify your triggers, and then respond. 5 things. That allows you to step back from it for a moment just to kind of recalibrate yourself. Pause, breathe, reflect, what's going on? Why am I being triggered? What's really the root of this? And then respond differently. And then you can also add a 5th thing or a 6th thing. Ask yourself, is it worth it? I do this all the time, so I know this works. Ask yourself, is this worth my fight and my energy? Or do I have a bigger fight at hand that I have to divert my energy? Because these are weapons of mass distraction, by the way, right? They divert us from really where our energy is supposed to be going. And in us getting distracted, you ever see like, I don't know, a dog is going in one direction and then you throw something and they go in another direction. Well, that's kind of what happens. And so you were going down a path and you were staying focused for the day and somebody calls you with some foolishness, right? And then all of a sudden you've now spent your energy focusing on their issue. You've not gotten what you said you were going to get done. They're now feeling better. And you've spent 2 hours of your time focusing on nothing. How does that? And now you're mad. For what? So although I know Morgan says sometimes it's hard to go high, but I have found when I've used that formula, pause, breathe, reflect, identify triggers, and then respond, that then allows me to go high and then I move on with my day, because my goal is to always do good. I don't always do it. I don't always make the grade, but that's usually my goal. And if I see myself going down a rabbit hole or going left and about to get caught up or get in the weeds with someone for no good reason other than perhaps a weapon of mass destruction, then I'm not going to fall for the okey doke, right? I'm not going to get reeled in to somebody else's conflict unnecessarily. And now I've disrupted my day. It's disruption. So ask yourself, are you helping to harm or healing the hurt? So it's 10:59. No one has come up with my favorite artist yet. So I will tell you my favorite artist. And now when I say it, BJ, you're going to say, I knew that. India.Arie. That is my favorite artist. I love her. I love her music. Morgan has to tolerate me playing her music over and over and over when I'm in the bathroom or when I'm getting ready or what have you. But I just love her music and I love her lyrics. I love her spirit. I love everything about what she has to say. And so her words just really resonate with me. And quite frankly, they inspire me. And I need, with what we have to do on a daily day and what I have to do in terms of working with people who are in a very dark space sometimes, it's really helpful. So y'all tell me if y'all thought to yourself, I knew that. BJ said, I did know, laugh out loud, right? Jen says, outside of work on Wednesdays night, my church prayer line on Zoom give me strength and comfort. As a deacon, I lift up my church family in prayer, and we read out of Jesus Calling. I love Jesus Calling. In fact, I have it. I have 2 Jesus Callings in my bookshelf, and then some at work as well. In our Zoom, open to everyone. Please join me. So put in the chat, Jen, the handle for your Zoom. and some of our crew members may join you. So that would be awesome. Dr. Gail says we must then know when, I think she said it means know when to emotionally regulate anxiety to control our amygdala and the origin of synthesizing reactions to emotions against a perceived threat. So yes, absolutely, fight or flight response. And so it's neurological for sure. And basically what I say is just tap in. Just tap in. I want to make it relatable. Just tap in to where the anxiety is showing up in your body and how it's resonating with you in an unhealthy way. And if you can do that, and Dr. Gail is absolutely right, it's the parasympathetic nervous system. And when your brain sends sensations through your body, it oftentimes will elevate your cortisol levels and your adrenaline levels. And it sends you down a path that you don't want to go. And so stepping back from it and allowing yourself to calm, allowing yourself, do this exercise on a daily basis. I guarantee you it's probably going to show up sometime today where somebody's going to distract you. Do the exercise. Say, I'm rising up for whatever you said you were rising up for today. Jen put the ID for Passway for her Zoom session in the chat. So if you all want to join her Bible study, please, this is what this is all about, is sharing information in our crew. Some people said they're rising up. I want to go back to the one rising. Angelique said, reaching into soaring energies. That was what her rising up stood for. And Jen said, I'm rising up to vote, I imagine, like her life depended on it. Angie says, I'm rising up with faith and to try to make a change. Jen said, I'm rising with faith and to have a man upstairs that guides me. And Dr. Gail's rising up was resist oppression, increase involvement, stand for something. I believe if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, and engage in ethical practices. Join me, Doc. So what time is your Bible study, Jen? Because you all know that I am literally starting to see clients at 12 noon, and I'm usually working until 9:30 seeing clients. So it might be, the timing might not work for me, but I do want, if I can, I definitely will join. I will copy that ID down. And we also have Bible study, I think, at our church, Enon, on Tuesdays and on Wednesday, Tuesdays at 7 and on Wednesdays at noon. And for those Bible studies, all people have to do is go to Pastor Alan E. Wallen's Facebook page or his YouTube page. 7 p.m. Yeah, 7 p.m. So I'm usually working and seeing clients. I think that's my last client is usually at 7:30. So I have a 6 to 7 and 7:30 to 8:30. Rising up to vote. I think that is the last word of the day. Vote, vote, vote. We have to vote like our lives depend on it. Because it does. And we're going to give more and more information about voting. The 17 locations in Philadelphia is going to be out soon for the early voting. So people who have not registered to early vote can actually go to those locations. I'm going to post them. As soon as I find out information, they can go and do a one-stop shopping. They can apply for early voting. They can fill out their ballot. They will get their ballot. They can then turn it in and know that they have done early voting. They can do that within 50 days of the actual day of voting, which is November 5th. So we've got some time. That hasn't happened yet, but within 50 days. So it should probably come out the beginning of September for the early voting locations and the drop boxes. And so I'll have all that information. We're going to continue, and we may try to do some campaigning early as well, Morgan and I, and we're going to just kind of continue to work. Let's continue to rise up, everyone. Let's continue to rise up. Let's continue to support each other. Go on over to our YouTube page at Ask Dr. RG. Hit subscribe. Send some folks over there that would help out with our algorithms. Smash that thumbs up button. And also, if you know somebody that's interested in therapy, they can reach us at 215-789-6999 or at Dr. RG Connects, contact us at connectionsmatterllc.com. And also, if you want to purchase this book, you can go to drrgconnects.com. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back and we'll just wrap up. Thank you. Work.
We bring in a friend who we've known for years and years and years. He's an author, relationship therapist, Dr. R.G. Alan Wilson.
Some expert advice on how we can all talk to them. Joining us now is relationship expert Dr. R.G. Alan Wilson. She's the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. Good morning, R.G.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Janelle. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And as we mentioned, a lot of people just dealing with anxiety during all of this. What are your suggestions?
Some of the things that we need to remember is that this is temporary. This is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. And as long as we stay healthy, Janelle, then everything else is recoverable.
Talk to your children about what's happening right now. What are the best ways to do that?
There's some do's and don'ts, right? So you want to tell them that you're going to be here. We're going to be okay. Kids want to know that they're secure and they're safe. So predictability, structure, and consistency. You also want to let them know you have a plan. And even if you don't have a plan, tell them that you're working on one.
Hey there, it's Dr. RG here. I was laughing. I was like, Mark, what are you doing, Mark? I don't know what happened to Mark.
You go so fast. You're moving so fast. So you go from the information on how to contact you, and right, hey, our sponsors. So before I can even get up the information, I'm a producer, but not a miracle worker, babe.
Whatever.
Anyway.
All right, babe. We drop the ball every once in a while. Bear with us. Bear with us. Angelique was laughing at Morgan. Veronica said, hey, Veronica, good day to you. Jen says, love the blessings, my dear. Truly feel your love. So blessed to have you as a part of my life. What a godsend. Thank you, Jen. And I feel the same way. We are both blessed to have each other in our lives. Debbie says, hearts up, breathe. We're going to all breathe. Remember to breathe throughout the day. Help yourselves. I get hearts. Thank you for my hearts, everyone. And listen, I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. And have a beautiful day on purpose. Jen says, Morgan, your sense of humor is everything. He is. He keeps us laughing up in this house in the midst of this pandemic. If you will, laughter is really, really good for the spirit and for the soul. So anyway, we love you guys. Nothing you can do about it. If no one else told you we love you, we told you today. Have a beautiful day on purpose from our hearts. Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Alan Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Tamron Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours.